Welcome, pals! Today we are going to look at some of the changes that Blizzard is planning or has already planned to introduce into the game, as well as a few other PSAs that you might be unaware of so far. Let's just start with the bigger one. Let's just start with the one that is more important because the raid is just out. You are going to be getting these things quickly. Many of you, many of us, are going to be getting the Shards of Domination. There's been the announcement from Blizzard related to the tuning of the Shards of Domination. The point they are trying to make is this. To make upgrading the Shards of Domination more rewarding, we are going to make it so that the end bonus, so the set bonus for your red, blue or purple shard, your blood, frost or unholy shard, is going to scale with the level of the Shards of Domination. So based on how much you upgrade them, the stronger the set bonus is going to be. Now, the reason why this is important is because the shards are divided usually between one damage shard for all three colors, one healing shard for all three colors, one utility shard, and then one defensive shard. Which means if you're a DPS, regardless of whether you want to go for the blood set bonus, the frost set bonus, or the unholy set bonus, prior to this change, you would have wanted to upgrade, so to make stronger your DPS shards only. For example, let's say you want the Blood Link, which is the blood set bonus, so you need 3 blood shards. You still wanted to upgrade the Shard of Core, because it increases your damage, and it's a blue shard, and you still wanted to upgrade the Shard of Diz, which is the Unholy Shard, because it also gives you damage. You don't care about upgrading the Shard of Rev, the blood shard that gives you Leech. You're a DPS, you don't give a shit about Leech. With this change, because you wanted the blood set bonus, you will have to upgrade the Leech shard simply because it's red, simply because it's going to go and empower your blood link, your set bonus for your blood shards. So the question with this change is, how much more powerful is Blizzard planning to make these set bonuses? Previously, you wanted to get a rank 5 DPS shard for blood, a rank 5 DPS shard for frost, and a rank 5 DPS shard for unholy with a weaker set bonus. Now you will have to go for a rank 5 blood shard, the second rank 5 blood shard, and then the third rank 5 blood shard. But only one of these is going to be DPS. The same can be said for healers. You will only be able to get a single healing rank 5 because the other two for your color that you have chosen, Unholy, Blood or Frost, is not going to be for your spec, for your role. So what is going to matter is how much more powerful is the set bonus is going to be. Is it going to make up for the fact that you're not going to be upgrading the shards you actually wanted to? If you're a DPS, DPS shard. If you're a healer, healer shards. If you're a tank, kind of whatever you want. Actually, tanks are a little bit more free. The other change, or rather discovery related to upgrading the shards is the Stygian Embers you're going to gain. Because we weren't exactly sure, we didn't know how many Stygian Embers you would have gained from the raid bosses. We knew the amount of Stygian Embers that were needed for upgrading, because we have the vendor. You know that you get the rank 1 shard, and then it takes you 5 embers to upgrade it to rank 2, and then 15 for rank 3, 30 for rank 4, and then 50 for the last major level, the 5th level. It basically takes you 50 to get all the way to rank 4, and then another 50 to get to rank 5. Now, with the preliminary numbers from normal and heroic, Mythic of course isn't there yet, but normal is going to give you 25 Soul Cinders if you kill all of the bosses and all of the 5 named trash mobs in the raid, whereas heroic is going to give you 40 embers per week if you kill the 10 bosses and the 5 named trash mobs. Remember, you also get 10 Stygian Embers from the weekly Shaping Fate in Korthia, which means if you're clearing the raid in heroic and you're getting your weekly from Korthia, it's 50 embers per week, which means 1 rank 4 shard per week, which means if you're clearing heroic already this week, in just 3 weeks you will be able to get 3 different shards at rank 4, for example. And then the 4th, 5th and 6th week you will be able to get the first rank 4 shard to rank 5, and then the second rank 4 shard to rank 5, and then the 6th week the last rank 4 shard to rank 5. So it is quite a bit faster than we previously thought. Especially given that we still don't know about Mythic. So it's 2 embers per boss in normal, it's 3 embers per boss in heroic, it could be 4, maybe even 5 embers per boss in Mythic, so you're also bound to gain even more as the weeks go by. And just in case it wasn't obvious, this is going to work like many other systems, like Soulash, like Corrupted Mementos from Nyalotha, like the Reliquaries from Eternal Palace. Looting stuff is going to be comprehensive of the previous difficulty. So it's not that you have to clear normal and then you have to clear heroic and then you have to clear mythic to gain all of that. The highest difficulty you clear is going to give you all of the total amount you would have gotten for that boss. Whereas, for example, if in mythic the boss awards you 5 embers, in heroic it awards you 3, and in normal it awards you 2, if you kill the boss in normal, you gain 2. If you re-kill him in heroic, it gives you 1, which is the difference of the 3 from heroic and the 2 in normal. And if you then re-kill him in mythic, you are gaining 2, because it's the difference between the 5 you would have gotten in mythic and the 3 you would have gotten in heroic have worked. This is how many previous systems have already been working when it comes to this type of currencies. Another thing to mention for the week is that this is the week that Torghast unlocks layer 10. We're not exactly sure if next week is going to be layer 11 or if Blizzard is going to unleash layer 12 all at once. For now though, it's just a single extra layer. Provided you have already cleared layer 9, then you have 2 more layers to do this week for both wings. The only addition is that you require to have cleared the layer 9 at 4-star. Blizzard is making use of the new ranking system they have added in Torghast to put essentially a gate in between layer 9 and layer 10, having you complete layer 9 at least at 4 stars before you enter rank 10. Generally speaking, this shouldn't be that difficult. I'm sure there are some people that are under-leveled, under-geared and whatnot, and they didn't manage to get it the first time, so they will have to try again. This is the list, just to give you an idea of how many extra bonus points you can get on top of the ones you normally get for the amount of elites you are killing, the amount of time you are spending in Empowered, etc., and how fast you have been. You have to reach 160 points to get 4 stars, and this entire list is just 155 points on its own. Then again, it's near impossible to get all of these at once in a single run. On top of that, if you're actually able to get all of these or most of these in a single run, you are very likely already well above the 160 points required for 4 stars. The real special change for Torghast isn't this one, because getting to 4 stars isn't that complicated. The real change is the unlocking of the Adamant Vaults, because this is the week, thanks to the box of many things, talent tree for Torghast, this is the week where you are going to have enough tower knowledge to be able to unlock and to open the Adamant Vaults. Now, exclamation mark, it's not that you need to unlock the Adamant Vaults, it's not that it's required. You're actually not going to gain, guaranteed, you're not going to gain any power increases. You're not going to gain Soul Cinders from the Adamant Vault, you're not going to gain some loot, some gear from the Adamant Vaults, okay? The main purpose of the Adamant Vaults is mostly cosmetic, looks and toys and pets and similar. However, a few weeks back we had the discovery in the PTR by a few players that entering the Adamant Vaults and completing the Adamant Vaults actually awarded them with the Season 2 version of the Venari socket and the Season 2 version of the Conduit upgrade item. Now, we didn't have any other confirmation about this. We didn't really have it put, for example, in patch notes. There was no real announcement by Blizzard that this was what you were going to get, so people kind of assumed, is this a test? We haven't gotten any actual confirmation, so who knows? Well, we have just gotten in-game footage, in-game confirmation by several players that this is actually being awarded right now in the Adamant Vaults. Now, what is missing as a confirmation is whether or not this is repeatable. So whether or not you can literally grind this on and on, or if it's a weekly type of reward. Also, we haven't actually been able to confirm that the socket reward is actually dropping. The conduit has been mentioned by many people, but the socket not really. Maybe it's rarer, maybe it's not guaranteed, maybe it requires more grinding, or maybe the weekly restriction is limited to one of the two. So if you randomly happen to be looting the conduit upgrade for the week, you won't be able to loot, or maybe it depends on the wings available, or something like that. We don't know. What we do know is that they have dropped from the Adamant Vaults. So it's not just a PTR thing. So going back talking about power, if previously you had absolutely zero incentive in going in the Adamant Vaults because you don't give a shit about pets and toys, then now you can at the very least, you know, have a little bit more interest in getting a perfect score, a 5-star score to unlock the Adamant Vaults, trying to get one of these rewards, which can be power upgrades. The socket is a power upgrade, the conduit upgrade is a little bit more of a random type of reward. It could be a power upgrade if you're lucky, basically. So there is that for Torghast. The other part, the last part we're going to go over is Mythic Plus. So we mentioned that with Season 2 we are going to get a new rotation of affixes. So the previous rotation of affixes goes away. Several dreaded combinations are not going to plague us every week. We are not getting bolstering and necrotic anymore. We are not getting inspiring and necrotic anymore, etc, etc. So which of the terrible combinations we are going to get? We already know from the last week of the PTR, which carried over as part of the rotation in live, that bolstering and explosive is going to be part of this season, which is kind of okay. I mean, last season we also had bolstering and storming, so bolstering explosive, bolstering storming is kind of similar. The actual first week of this patch, even though Mythic Plus didn't have the new affix Tormented, we did have bursting and storming, which is also kind of fine. Storming has been heavily nerfed, so it was technically kind of good if we had the same affixes of last season, because bolstering and storming and inspiring and storming, because of how much storming has been nerfed, would have kind of been fine. But hey, bursting and storming has made it into a pretty good push week. This week we are getting raging and volcanic. Season 1, raging was with explosive and was with quaking, so raging was already a very good push week. Raging has also been nerfed. Raging used to give 100% damage increase to enemies, now it's going to give 75%, so it's a nerfed version of Raging, and it is still going to be paired with a very weak affix. I don't know if you prefer, in terms of weakness, if you prefer explosive, if you prefer quaking, or if you prefer volcanic. Personally, I think volcanic is by far the easiest of the three, so this is a pretty simple week. Now, in case you haven't realized, this is actually pretty interesting because volcanic is not a tyrannical affix. Volcanic last season was in Fortified, and storming last season was in Fortified. So they swapped, Blizzard swapped the range DPS affix volcanic and the melee DPS affix storming with one another. So this is going to start opening way more opportunities, because now we know Blizzard can, not for sure, but Blizzard can, is willing to swap around certain affixes. Yes, of course, you can take a solid guess and go ahead and say that bolstering is never going to be moved in a Fortified week, or necrotic is never going to be moved in a Fortified week. That's not really difficult to guess, but at least we know there is the possibility. Lastly, to close the video, we have to point out the obvious. You can still track back, I think 2 or 3 videos ago, I put this in the thumbnail because it was the obvious thing that was going to happen. What a surprise! Picture my face with a shocked reaction because the Tome of Insight has been nerfed. The Tome of Insight has gotten its proc, its secondary stat, Critical Strike, nerfed by over 40%, and on top of that, the proc rate is no longer going to be hasted, which means, well, exactly what it says. It's not going to get affected by haste, how much it can proc. So, if you have spent your dozens, your thousands, since I've already seen reports of people and their expenditure to get this, if you have spent Stygia to be able to loot this, if you have spent research to be able to upgrade this, it's still a decent trinket at 232 item level. It's not complete garbage at max item level for now, but it's nowhere near the level of, oh, I looted a 239 heroic trinket, or oh, I looted a 252 mythic trinket. It's still a downgrade compared to this random world drop. Not at all. Now the nerf has set it in line with the level it was supposed to be in the first place. With this obvious remark regarding this trinket, we are done. We are done for the day. These were all the more important news and things worth mentioning. at the start of this week. I'm sure there is going to be a few more changes over the next few days. We are eventually going to talk about the first week of raiding, the logs, the performance of the specs, but it's fucking Wednesday. It's still way too early. We have to wait a few more days to go over that and draw some very, very preliminary conclusions. So, thank you guys for watching the video. If you want to support the channel, I don't know, buy some suspenders or something. See you guys soon, and in the meantime, oh well, it's been a few weeks. It was time to go back at mowing the lawn at 9 in the morning. God fucking damn it, man, these people.